Love it. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Collective Body Flight Academy. Your hosts, Josh Evans and Mike Silva, are here. And today we're excited to have Marcus on the video. Really excited about the video today. We got a little tunnel video to share and a jump video to share, which was filmed by Josh Evans, Lazy Mate.
Hey,
And yeah, we just want to have a good time tonight. Just as a reminder, this is a place for people to ask questions, submit video. We'd love for anybody watching, if they want some feedback or coaching, to send us video at collectivebodyflightacademy@gmail.com. Whatever you want. And at the end of it, we're just here to help give some tips, critiques, maybe some pointers on any flight adjustments you may have. And at the start of every episode, we love to just chat about what your most recent flight experience was. I know Josh has some pretty cool stuff to share, but what's been new in your flight world, Josh?
I just had in 16 years, one of the coolest coaching experiences I've ever had. I got invited by the Air Force to go out and coach their MFS teams for a week on their spring break, and it was really amazing. They treated me very well. I got to see a lot of really cool Air Force airplanes, and I got to work with some highly motivated 19 to 21-year-old skydivers who are training to be fighter pilots. And it was really cool. We sit there, we break down video in super slow motion and pick apart all the intricacies of personal flying and MFS. And it's an experience I hope I get to replicate one day because it was amazing.
Man, I can't even understand what that feels like. That's so awesome. You got to do that.
It was
Have to
great.
keep us
Yes.
updated. Are there more dates upcoming potentially, or do you know yet?
Potentially. We'll see. I don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but if something comes up, I'll let you guys know.
All right, man. And Marcus, what about you? What's new in your flight world? When was the last time you got to fly?
So in the sky, I went out a weekend ago, and it's my typical scenario. So this is why I hope this will help to, I started skydiving at age 50, so I'm kind of behind the curve. And obviously I like competitive, I like flying with other people. So, the natural thing was to do a lot of belly flying, four-way, eight-way. And so I would really love to. I spent a lot of time in the tunnel, primarily with Josh, to learn some real, free flying skills that I never thought I would ever learn. But I would want to take that in the sky, and it's always the same. I come out to the drop zone. Free flyers usually don't get up early, so there's nobody there. 8 or 10 belly flyers. Come on, jump with us, jump with us. We are a group of 10. And so by the time I get on, by the time the free flyers show up, I'm deeply into 10-way belly flying, which is wonderful. I love it. But I would like to be able to do that, be good enough that I can go out there and maybe even pick up somebody who is not the best free flyer who wants to jump with me because I can do a jump that they usually free flying is weird at the drop zone. There's the free flyers, the 50, 100 jump, 200 jump people, which free flying just means fall out of the airplane and just be flopping around,
A
and
meat
then there's
shower.
the yeah, and then there's the
Oh,
real free flying, which very few people really seem to be able to do. And then you either know exactly those people and can do it, where it's really fun, where you can try to take docks, try to do different exits, and like more like that. So,
Nice.
so
Nice.
my last skydiving was a few really nice 10-way belly jumps. So,
I
Yeah.
will say this though about your flying is that you are dedicated, and I feel like you have been on a pretty steady progress since we started going down the free fly path. And it really does start with a solid belly foundation. And now that we're starting to get into like the flat points of VFS, I noticed that your belly foundation and the way that you understand how four-way works and the concept of building points, flashes, cheats, like all that stuff is really applying to your VFS flying. And having done some head down skydives with you, I can also say that, it takes, I tell people that it takes like a minimum of 30 jumps to transfer any high level skill to the sky. And
Mm.
we have gone out and we've done a few coaching days. And in the beginning, I'm sure you felt like, it's almost impossible to find the wind stream to get vertical.
Yeah.
But towards the end of our coaching together at the end of last season, we were exiting head down, we were getting out, we were releasing, you were transitioning to your head. So I'm definitely seeing some progress in your head down flying and just adapting your tunnel skills to the sky in general.
I
Well,
gotta
that's
say,
nice to hear, Josh.
I don't know if you knew this, Marcus, but I've been watching the videos too, and it's really exciting to see how Josh is coaching you outside to apply those tunnel skills to your jumps, and particularly with some of the layout and head down skills to like figure out
Mm.
what vertical was. And it just
Yeah.
blew my mind watching you figure out how to nail it. And it's awesome. You are making a lot of progress, especially since I left Denver in 2018 to now. If you could see what I see, how the
Mm.
gaps and improvement, it's pretty incredible. And I think that's a perfect place to start. I'd love to check out some video. And I want to start with the tunnel video if I could. So I'm going to share this, make sure it's showing up great.
There we are.
There we are. I love it. So first video today, it looks like a tunnel session. We're in Denver, and it looks like we're preparing for launch for VFS. So I'm going to let this play a little. Nice. Looks like a launch. Some back fly formations, a little bit of a block there, grip 360 grip, barrel roll, some
Video's frozen
movement.
on our screen.
I'm not sure if, yeah, it might be frozen for everybody. It's frozen for me on the
Okay.
launch.
Let me see if it will make sense if I do. Thanks for the heads up, guys. Are you guys seeing this now?
Yep.
Yeah, it's playing out.
Awesome. Let's just go with this view if that's okay. Tell me if when I press full screen, do you guys still see now?
Yep.
Yep, it's good.
Awesome. Okay. So from the beginning, we had a backfly launch from the Denver tunnel. I see some randoms and blocks. We got some barrel roll technique. Is this league night, Josh? We got like six. Do you do 6 140s or what's the rotation when you do your
We
league?
do 5.2s. Yeah, this
Okay.
is a league night.
Awesome. I see amazing backflying, pretty stable, scorpion legs. Wind speed
Marcus is
pretty
very
fast.
good at flat flying and he's very good at layouts. Um, just has really good awareness, I feel like, in all things flat. And then yeah, like his layouts and his control going over the feet, I feel like is super dialed in. We have been working a little bit on barrel rolls, and
Yeah.
something that a really common issue with barrel rolls, and we can kind of see it there, is trying to barrel roll with the hips instead of with the legs. So it's really tempting when you're on your back. It feels really easy, like, oh, I can just arch my way through this barrel roll. But when you arch your way through a barrel roll, you get a bunch of lift. And then as you roll over to your side, it starts driving you one way or another. And so, especially,
Mm.
you can kind of see it happening right there. So,
Yep.
especially when you are doing VFS barrel rolls, you want to try to keep it in slot as much as possible. So that's why it's really important to wind the legs up and then let your upper body unwind.
Yeah.
Although that going from belly to back, that Thomas flare is really good. That barrel roll with a 90-degree turn.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to practice an intentional Thomas flare and then an intentional slot perfect barrel roll. And one thing I see, and this can be a mix of like flexibility, training, and awareness. In the barrel roll, if you want to do a slot specific barrel roll, like a tighter one, I always like to tell students to try to touch your biceps to your ears. And that subtle, subtle change of getting your arms more vertical and in line with your torso will keep you a little bit more level. And what tends to happen is when people barrel roll, their arms are slightly in front of their face, and it's maybe a 30-degree difference, but getting the arms back a little bit more when you do a barrel roll, when your biceps are by your ears, can assist with you doing like a slot perfect barrel roll. I would say, Marcus, if we were flying as a team or to compare, you and I fly the same slot as when Josh and I fly. I'm like the denser, heavier, lower flyer. So I know that fall rate is something we always play with. I've always had to play with that challenge or that adjustment in flying with Josh, which eventually becomes a strength and a benefit. But I was always trying to find ways to control more surface area. And like Josh was on the opposite, usually trying to find ways to decrease surface area. So biceps to ears, when you do a slot perfect barrel roll, will give you a little more surface area so you won't sink as much, and it'll keep you level so that you don't have a upper body descent like a head low pitch. But
Mm.
what I would do for fun, like your Thomas flare is awesome. That turning barrel roll, it's like a quarter of a turn. I might spend a round or two on another night intentionally doing the Thomas flare both directions, where you use the hips to throw it on
Mm.
purpose, and then you do a round or two of barrel rolls that are slot specific. So just a thought
We
to
can do that tomorrow night.
yeah, just a thought to play with
Yeah.
some new things so that you learn to control both. It's not that one's right or wrong or better or worse. It's just that they're different tools. And the better you are at both of those skills, the better, VFS, MFS flyer you'll be.
But
And I'll absolutely second Josh's comment on like your flat speed flying, your sentence structure, your memory, because of your skills as a four-way flyer, it absolutely immediately helps you be better at this. The
Mm.
entrance is great. The movement's great. Your memory of the draw is great. There's no brain farts. There's no hesitation. That's something I wish more MFS free flyers had. And you really only get that from doing some type of relative work, which usually starts with belly skills. Um, Another thing I'd love for people watching to see is look at the suits they're wearing, right? You're wearing the purple stripe or the purple suit with the stripe, and it looks like you have the weight belt on the outside. This is something you're going to see from an expert level coach and a high level dedicated student. I would want people watching to know that the suit is just a tool to help give you the right fall rate to fly with other people. A suit's different for everyone based on your height, your weight, your flexibility, your previous injury. So you should pick a suit that's going to help you fly at a fall rate with other people. A great flyer can fly with more people, not less. And so you got to wear the right suit for what you need. I am at a point in BFS where I'd be doing the same thing. I'm mostly in a red student large the whole time because it's easier on my shoulders and body. And I'd want people watching to know, pick a suit for your body type and the wind speed and the people you're trying to fly with so that it gives you more range. I feel like there's this misconception that everyone should be in a skin tight suit forever. And I think that's really silly, is a polite way of putting it.
I think of the suit as a way to offload bandwidth. So when
Yeah,
you fly, you only have so much bandwidth. You have 100%. That's as much as your brain can put out. Your
yep,
mind and body can only supply so much focus and power. And your bandwidth is eaten up by everything, by your balance, by your body's need to generate lift, your control,
yep.
remembering your dive flow. Every single bit of the mental and physical aspect of flying eats up bandwidth. And what's great about a suit is that a big bandwidth suck is the lift. It's just trying to go the right speed. So either
70%.
yeah, too fast or too slow. Most people struggle in some way. And by letting the suit do that, you just freed up like 70% of the bandwidth that your mind and body needs for flying. And you can dedicate that towards control, remembering your dive flow, learning new maneuvers. And that's why, like, when someone is learning head up or especially like a new head down flyer, just put them in a baggy suit and until you learn to become efficient and generate more lift than you possibly need, just stay in that suit and then eventually you strip it off. But I think that you found like when we were flying in Denver, just flying in the baggy suit just made everything easier, right, Marcus?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, just freed up.
definitely the tunnel. In the sky, I wear a different suit. But it's by the way, just in case somebody wonders, why would I wear a weight belt and a floppy suit? It's not a weight belt. It's because the suit's so floppy, at least on the vertical. I'm trying to get rid of the floppiness around my midsection. So I want to have the floppiness in the arms and legs, and this is kind of to make it not flutter so much right around the mid.
Perfect
That,
execution of tools to
yeah.
make this more fun. As Josh said, to get more bandwidth. I think it's wonderful. Think of the suit and the belt as a tool to make your life easier. You shouldn't be struggling for lift when you're learning something. Um,
And the usable lift is really in the arms and legs, like Marcus said. Lift on your torso, I think of that as parasitic drag. That's lift that's going to be flapping around. It's going to be moving your largest, flattest surface, which is your torso, and it's going to be shifting around your body. So it's really hard to control a baggy torso. So the really useful lift is on the extremities, and that's exactly why Marcus has the belt on. It keeps the torso relatively tight, and then arms and legs are providing all the lift that he needs for pretty much any body position.
yeah, I totally agree. All right, great student. We have a tunnel clip and then we have a skydive clip. This is what it's
Perfect.
all about, tying everything together, seeing how we can take it from one place to the other. Let's check out the sky clip really quick and just see what we see.
Oh yeah, summer
All right,
days,
Mile High,
buddy.
we got the new suit. I'm liking it. All right. Josh, I already see the count you were showing me the other day.
Yeah, so from it's pretty choppy, Mike. I don't know if that's on your end, but um, while you get it smoothed out, we can talk about that count. So Marcus and I, you can see that we do a up down go instead of an out in out, and that was something that we learned doing MFS. We wanted our jumps to come off the plane directly in line with the line of flight. Like basically, if we're coming out our head, we want to be shooting out of the door like a bullet instead of diving out towards the tire. And that was something that Marcus and I were doing because it helps bring you out directly into the wind stream instead of maybe tumbling and missing the wind stream and
Nice.
feeling like you're fighting on the hill. If you do an up down exit, now it's easier to step right out and fly directly up the line of flight for the first 5 or so seconds of the jump. Helps you get on your head faster.
I
And you
don't
can see
see
the
I minimal rotation.
horizon doesn't
Nothing.
move at all. Yeah, we just
Yeah.
step right out under our head.
I gotta say, man, this is an awesome jump. You're very proximate. It doesn't seem like there's much chasing at all by Josh. In fact, it looks like he's holding vertical to force you to feel the movement, which is obvious for me to see, and that's great for you to learn. We got some transitions here, a good exit, some correction on forwards and backwards drive.
Boom.
Yeah,
That is
man.
so awesome.
Yeah, this is a great two-way jump to just get used to the skills outside.
Maybe reduce the full screen. Let's watch that in windowed and see if we can get it a little bit smoother. So something that I'm kind of noticing, I think
Oh
we
yeah.
talked about this when we jumped, is when you come out on your head and you get placed on your head, it's pretty easy to maintain that vertical feeling, right, Marcus?
Right.
And when you
Yeah.
transition to your head, that's a little bit harder to maintain. I noticed when you transition to your head, without having the tunnel walls and without having as many visual references that you would get in the tunnel, you kind of get like a little bit of over rotation, a little bit of
Yeah.
backsliding,
Yeah. Now
and
I'm sliding.
so that is completely normal when you're adapting a skill to the sky. This is why it takes 30 or so jumps to adapt a high level skill to the sky, because now you can't really rely on the visuals. You have to learn to trust just the feeling of it, and to a lesser degree the sound, and that just takes a long time to get to the point where I've done this transition 30 times in the sky, and I've
Mm.
seen over and over and over, like, oh, when I do it, if I put a little bit of pressure on my back leg, the people will get smaller, and if I put a little pressure, if I keep my legs a little bit straighter, then the people, they don't drift away. And so that's the kind of thing that really takes it just takes reps. It's like any other physical pursuit. It's just going to take a bunch of exposure to the skill before it really starts to lock in.
Do you have a good guess of how many head down free fly jumps you've done? Like just working on this transition skill or exiting skill? 50, 100,
No,
less?
like I probably have done 30 total now. At that point, you know, we did 2 days of, I think that was the second day of coaching,
Yeah.
and otherwise I've not done any head down jumps. Everything was head up, if I did any free flying.
I bet that
And
was right in the middle of the day too. That was
Okay.
probably like when you were, warmed up from the first couple of jumps. I bet you anything that was like the third or fourth jump of the day.
yeah, it's usually the middle jumps are the best, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
by the end of the day, it gets a
Call it
little,
your working skills. You've warmed up, you're fresh,
yeah,
but you're not tired. And then the end of the day is like fatigue starts to
yeah,
settle in physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. The middle of the day is always the best.
yeah.
That was a
I
really
mean,
good skydive though. That was a
Yeah.
great jump.
that was a nice one. Yeah, I
I,
enjoyed it.
I
I
would
mean,
put
it's hard when I fly with others. It's just because, now here at least levels, forward, backward, I think, Josh just held still. But if I fly with anybody else, now we have level problems too. And then visually also very hard. In the tunnel, there's never so much of a difference, right? Like if I'm really low and they're really high, for me even to know what's going on while staying on my head. So when I jump with others, it's pretty much if we're not right there, it's go to my foot, to my feet, and probably even back a little bit to get back to them. And by the time I could transition back, the jump's over. So that's the tricky part.
totally. What do you say, Josh, about like when you go from flying with your coach to flying with another student? It's like 70% of it is the coach. You're still coaching even when you're setting the base. And
Oh yeah,
it's,
it's really important to fly with other people that aren't your coach because
yep,
when you're flying with your coach, yeah, it's like what Mike said. The coach might be offloading like 70% or more of
the
what's
levels.
required.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
when you fly with someone else, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter how good they are. If it's not the person that's been training you that knows every little intricacy of your flying, now the job is split 50-50. And
right.
as the jump progresses, that might kind of waver back and forth. Like, one person might be doing a little bit more, a little bit less as the jump progresses. But the fact that you are not being fully compensated by someone else teaches you so much about your flying because now the responsibility is on your shoulders to maintain forward, backwards, to maintain your level. It's all of it. And that's a really important step for everyone to take to become like a fully fledged flyer in any discipline. You got to be
So
able to do it with others.
I have a few thoughts right here for just some ideas potentially. And I'm not flying with you in the tunnel regularly. So, Josh, let me know how on point this is. But I would go from a jump like this and do a day or two of this to feel good about it, get 5, 6, 7 jumps in like this. And then I might switch gears if you feel like you're want to change mentally or you want to try to push to a new level of skill. Um, have you ever tried a cartwheel to head down?
So um I always get confused which one is the cartwheel. Is the cartwheel the pretty much back and then turn, or is the
Great
cartwheel
question.
the side
I
one?
I would
Second
say
one.
the transitions to head down are back flip, front flip, cart loop, or cartwheel. Uh,
Cartwheel is this one,
Cartwheel is
right?
straight
Yeah,
up
right.
sit facing or sit flying facing Josh, and you
Yeah.
would just lean over one side of your body to get to head down. This is not something you would do in the tunnel. In the tunnel, a cartwheel is a trick and the last thing you would ever learn, and it's not very spottable. But the best thing about a cartwheel is that you can maintain visual reference points with the person you're flying with. And in the
Right.
sky, you have so much space you can be a little bit sloppier and dirtier and bigger, but you can safely gain that visual reference point. So if we were sit flying and I was facing you, Marcus, and you were going to try a cartwheel, I would just say take the arm you want to move with and pull it into your body and then lean your head over that side of your body and just try to look at Josh for fun, for shits and giggles. I think the sky is a wonderful place in a two-way with a coach that has video of you to do a fun loosey goosey jump and just try to land a cartwheel to head down. Why not? What do
Yeah.
you have to lose? It would be worth doing a few transitions where you get out of the plane, head down, roll to your sit, and you just practice a cartwheel once or twice and see if you can land it and have this confidence and this fearlessness of knowing you're flying with Josh, who you don't have to worry about anything with, and there are no walls or net or wind speeds to worry about, and just
Right.
100% fully commit. to pulling an arm in and just go the way that feels natural, just for the sake of experimenting and playing with something new, so that you might be able to get the advantage or the benefit of maintaining eye contact,
Hmm.
and using the space and the lack of walls to just play with it. Um, so it's fun.
Important thing with that though. So let's point out because Marcus and I were setting this jump up in a specific way, and you want to set any jump up that you do like that in a specific way. So at Mile High, the plane flies west towards the mountains. You can see the mountains that are on our right here. So
Yep.
before we would try any maneuvers, we would always orient ourselves north or south. So any maneuvers that were done, if it drove forward or backwards, it would not be traveling up the line of flight. And that's really important for anyone that's going out to do a coach jump like this. If you're organizing a coach jump like this, or if you're being coached, you want to make sure that it's being organized in that way. So before you try any maneuvers where you might lose awareness or control, you're oriented to travel perpendicular to line of flight.
Great pointers. I mean, this is absolutely something you should be doing with a coach. As you work through this, you're just going to get more benefit, and especially as you see the video. I would say another thing you could do to supplement this would be some tunnel work for drills I call like shuffling drills or head down circular movement. All it really is when you're head down, you're starting to move your legs a little bit more aggressively, shuffling forwards and backwards, or starting to roll your legs and hips around your body, hence the circular movement. You're trying to move your legs around your body. What this would let you do is as you're flipping to your head down, you could adjust forwards or backwards right here. Like if you practice some shuffling in the
Hmm.
tunnel, it would be easier for you to try and get your legs behind you and push forwards for just a brief moment to close that gap a little better. And the forwards backwards shuffle, if you were in the tunnel and you were in a Daffy leg position, you would just try to throw your front leg behind you and then recover and just practice doing that motion back and forth for a few inches or a foot while Josh or one of the spotters had a hand. And you could just feel what it's like to shuffle forwards and backwards in more of a movement pattern as opposed to a really strict small VFS movement.
Hmm.
And I would love to start showing you a complement of in the tunnel, working on some more aggressive leg position and balancing skills. And then when you go do a skydive, do some of these jumps with a backflip and a 180-degree turn, or play with throwing in a cartwheel and using some of your new stability with your legs to kind of stick the landing. I think one thing I love about the sky, if you're in a two-way and you're observant of jump run with a good coach, then you can play with some transitions that you just couldn't do in the tunnel to get used to free flying and let go of the rules of the tunnel
Right.
and the safety issues of the tunnel to just kind of play and have a little bit more fun when you need a mental break or a technique break to just go do something fun and like huck a move and see what happens. It might make you feel more confident and express bigger range of motion so that when you go back to doing the turning backflip, you just feel way more confident and stronger and you hesitate less. So
It's
some
like running
ideas.
with weights on.
Yeah, totally. Some ideas.
That's the analogy I always use. Do a
Mm.
harder thing, and then the hard thing you're doing seems easy. I would
Uh,
love to see your transitions to the sky and transitions in the sky now because that was quite a while ago, maybe last summer, and since then we've been working on shelf, been working on more
ooh,
rotation and carving in the sky, and I would love to see the way that those things translated to what you're doing what you could do in the sky now.
it's
Yeah.
so fun to open it up. And when you realize,
Hmm.
oh, the sky, there are big consequences in the sky, but if you're following um, good guidelines, there's so much more freedom to goof off. It's really cool to
Right.
actually feel like you're free flying. You have the
Yeah.
freedom to do whatever your body wants. I I would love for you to get to a point where you just feel like you look where you want to go and your body goes there. Head, sit, belly, back angle. You stop.
Teleporter mode.
Yeah, you stop thinking about body positions. That goes out the window. You just ball it up
Right.
and throw that out the window. And your body just says, I want to go that way. And you look and you just rock it that way. And it doesn't matter what body positions aren't a thing anymore. It's just how do you
Right.
push on the wind to get what you want. Um, I would like to share maybe one last helpful tip. You mentioned something really important earlier about the culture of the drop zone and or trying to get with some free flyers to make the experience better. It takes a little effort and it takes a little I don't know, community building, friendship, some outreach, maybe some bravery, but organizing it so that you're there by reaching out to just try to do two ways, I think is the best way to grow this. If you're learning to free fly and you can get just one other person who's at a similar fall rate as you to do
Mm.
free flies, I would recommend doing that for a day to improve your skills. If you really go to the drop zone to free fly, just try to find one other person, and that would be the best way to grow. Even if you're chasing someone in a sit or you're just lightly starting to transition and do some forwards movement to catch up with someone head down, that would be the best choice to grow versus doing meat showers. Like, no, don't do
Yeah.
anytime you add in another person and they're not all on level with some
Yeah.
level slot dock discipline, it'll feel I feel frustrated, and it's definitely more dangerous, and the control and the productivity of the jump goes down. So I would just say focus on two ways. I don't know if you've heard that before, but I wish someone would have told me that a lot earlier in my career. You'll have more fun, the jump will feel longer, it will be safer, and you get to practice your skills a lot more when you're just one on, just in a two-way with somebody
Yeah.
else. Um, and I'm sure Josh knows, and you could probably think of a few people who are at that same place to try and coordinate making it happen, just to give yourself more opportunity of trying to get in some quality free fly jumps with the days that you have. If you have normal life obligations, getting a good day of jumping in as an adult is a special.
Tough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough.
that's a tough one.
It's just a very special thing. So I would just try to maximize it when you can and see who's going out through the social media groups or outreach to try and say, hey, let's do some two-way jumps today. And it's always tempting to say, like the devil on your shoulders, like, oh, just do the four-way sit speed star. Like we'll just do some mix-up jump to include people. But if you can split it into two ways at this level for another 50, 100 jumps, your learning curve will be
Hmm.
exponential. So the more you can do that, and it doesn't have to be with Josh, just someone with a similar fall rate or similar goals can make that a lot better. Um, so I just want to say that I thought that was really important to share.
Yeah, that is really important.
Um, Marcus, what was helpful from today? Did you hear anything new?
Oh
Or
yeah, like a lot in the, in the flat, really, I haven't really thought of, but I was watching more. So what did you call that? It's the turn with the hip and a 90 degree as I'm
the
as
Thomas
Thomas
I'm
Flair.
there?
Thomas Flair. Okay, so
Yeah.
gotta remember that. So that's really interesting, and to see how, different, a barrel roll is not a barrel roll. Like there's a few different ways of doing it, and in the sky, I just really need experience. So every single word you said is good because it's all, it's all learning there. And, and I really this season I want to in the sky, really really kind of it takes a little sacrifice, right? When you have a group of 10 people that you've flown with all the time and they're there and they're having awesome jumps and they're making, hitting 8 points in a 10-way skydive, and I'm doing, at least if I can do two ways and not solos, then I'd be very happy. Yeah.
Two ways
Well,
is where it's at for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
That's like the greatest learning environment for new skills in the sky.
Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty cool. I feel like in body flight, there's like a line in the sand, and you're either on one side or the other. And that metric is can you flip to your head in control in the sky in the tunnel?
That's pretty
And
much it.
my
Mm.
friend, have crossed that line, that big metric in my brain of like where the whole world starts to open up. If
Yeah.
you can,
I think about that as when the real learning starts.
yeah,
That's where you become like a true free flyer when you can flip to your head in the tunnel or in the sky.
Yeah.
you're gonna feel more open and have more access to things. And it's another 50 jumps of this where you're not hesitating to flip to your head. The whole world's gonna change, and it's a really exciting time. So I'm stoked for you. I hope this was useful. Anybody watching, if you'd like to submit some videos or get in contact with Josh or I to do a review, tunnel video, freestyle video, skydive video, any feedback you want on body flight gear, break-offs, getting ready for the upcoming summer season. We're here to nerd out and chat with you. But we appreciate you. Again, email is collectivebodyflightacademy@gmail.com or reach out to us on socials. But guys, it's been awesome. Marcus, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing
Thanks
some
so
Thanks,
much.
insights.
Marcus.
We
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Josh.
brother.
Yeah, thank you.